from the red carpet to center stage. It's the home opening night for the Ottawa Senators, who share the marquee this evening with Patrick Roy's Colorado Avalanche. Our starting goalies are brought to you by Scotiabank. You're richer than you think. Scotiabank. And Ray, it will be Reto Berra and not Semyon Varlamov for the Avalanche tonight.
He'll be shooting the puck against Kyle Turris will want to shoot the puck against Berra, who had a fantastic start for Colorado in his only game of the season. Turris, a nice start to his season as the #1 center here in Ottawa. Assists in back-to-back games on the road trip. A real chemistry starting to form with Mark Stone, because he already has it with Clark MacArthur. The Senators' top line has been their most dangerous in the early going.
Greg Anderson, coming off a shutout, did his last start. Has made 64 saves on 67 shots so far, offside at the Colorado line. And tonight's keys to the game are brought to you by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of the NHL.
Colorado had some problems in Toronto the other night, protecting the puck, exiting their defensive zone. It cost them a couple of goals. That's been something that's plagued them so far. And for the Ottawa Senators, they have to commit to this like it's a road game. It's different playing at home. The guys in the studio talked about it prior to the game, that they didn't have a very good home record last year. Just 18 wins. Have to be much better this year if they expect a challenge for a playoff spot.
Ray Paul McLean said he wouldn't do a whole lot of matching, but interesting that he has David Legwand, Chris Neil, and Eric Condrout against the top line of the Avalanche here as Matt Duchene's on the ice, along with Jerome McGinley and former Ottawa 67 Jamie McGinn on the left wing. That's the newcomer Legwand along the boards. Avalanche come up with it. And the shot is steered wide of the net. Yet Hina moves up. He takes a bump along the boards from Neal. And the puck is freed by Iginla. Can't sift it through. And the Senators will dump it out to center to get a change. Petrignan Heda plays it back into Ottawa ice. And Patrick Wierkosh is back to get it. Here comes Bobby Ryan on his right side, although he'll play the left wing with Mika Zibanejad. Alex Chiasson, here's a quick shot, Tanguay scores! An early Avalanche goal by Alex Tanguay.
Bobby Ryan's looking for a hooking penalty on this play. We talked about the keys to the game and Colorado having to exit the puck much cleaner than they did the other night. Ryan turns it over 2 feet outside the blue line. Wierkosh steps up and takes Daniel Briere out of the play, but Ryan loses Nathan MacKinnon in the corner. MacKinnon gets to this loose puck, and he's going to feather a nice little pass to Alex Tanguay, and Tanguay beats Craig Anderson with the first shot of the game up over the glove, and the Avalanche, with just their 5th goal of the regular season, have a 1-0 early lead.
So Tanguay's first of the year. 3 consecutive injury-plagued seasons for Alex Tanguay. Trying to bounce back here, and he gives the Avalanche the early advantage. Ottawa with 2 wins in their first 3 games. The Avalanche were beaten soundly in their opening 2 games against Minnesota. Came back with a buzzer beater by Daniel Briere to beat Boston, and then an overtime loss 2 nights ago in Toronto. Will be sent in, and there's Curtis Lazar on his first shift at home. Nice cheer for the rookie and the former captain of the Edmonton Oil Kings. In the player introductions, Chris Phillips, and the 9th captain in Ottawa Senators history, Erik Karlsson. A bank pass out of the reach of Stone. Rolls in deep. MacArthur will play it back to Stone. In behind the net, Kyle Turris joins the attack. There's a shot by Karlsson, redirected and up off the crossbar. MacArthur up with the puck. Tag team there at the boards, but it's been right in front of the net, and they crash into Berra. As John Mitchell took a Senator player in, it looked like Turris, and Berra has been shaken up. Varlamov is on the DL as of earlier today. And Reto Berra still hasn't moved.
There's Calvin Pickard, the backup goaltender tonight, a former first-round pick by the Avalanche. Flew all day today as he's been playing in the American League with Lake Erie. Played this past weekend. Played very well in the season opener, had a shutout on the road, and Red O'Bara is the starter. He's the only, I guess he's not even really experienced, as he gets steamrolled by Kyle Turrison with Varlamov on the shelf. It looked like Patrick Waugh was going to have to lean on Red O'Bara here.
Unless he's next up.
I don't know if Patrick's still got pads, but he's not very happy that was not a call made on the play. Turris drove the net, and there was some contact with the Avalanche defenseman. As he gets to the front of the net, Turris makes a strong move. There's the poke check, but you see John Mitchell actually drives Turris back towards Red O'Bara, who ends up in the back of the net.
And you could see the head contact there. O'Bara starting to get up and trying to collect himself here, but you would think that this long to get to his feet, he'd at least have to go through some concussion protocol.
He's coming out of the net, and so whatever the day looked like for Calvin Pickard, it's changed in a big hurry. Pickard is going to enter the game as Bara's going to head to the locker room. Patrick Waugh down to talk to both Pickard and Bara to have a discussion and a word with the Avalanche trainer. We'll go back in the tunnel with Red O'Bara, and I can't even imagine what Pickard's heart is doing right now. That thing's got to be thumping away.
Every NHL player will remember their first game, but the circumstances for this, for Calvin Pickard, unlike just about any other.
4-0 shutout on Friday night in Grand Rapids was Pickard's first start of the season. And if I'm the Senators, I'm getting the puck on his feet as quick as I possibly can. Don't forget, he flew here today, arrived at the rink just as the team did, and away he goes.
Does have a one-goal lead, a face-off win by Legwand. Let's see if Carlson tests him early. A shot right on. First stop, rebound. Condra can't get it through all that traffic in front of the net.
Well, O'Reilly didn't help him much by losing the draw. That's a tough start, but he threw in flying colors with his first shot of this evening.
Tyson Barry neatly moved it ahead, and now Landeskog curls in the zone, feeds it back to Jan Hejda. Hejda at the line, his shot knocked down en route. Carlson chips it off the boards, and the Senators roll it out to center. Landeskog will move it back in. Here's Landeskog. Pass looking for Everberg, a weak backhand that rolls onto Anderson, who will hold on.
Pickard's still stretching down in the Colorado net. He's barely loose. Legwand wins the draw through traffic. Pickard gets a chest on it, yet the puck falls right down into his feet. There's a chance for Condra that is shot wide. Pickard trying to get some semblance of normalcy to the game. If he can settle down a little bit here in the next minute or two, the game will look pretty familiar to him. Yet it's just really not a very familiar day for him at all.
Defensive zone face-off won by Mika Zibanejad. Chiesa working in the corner for Ottawa. Duchesne takes it away from him, tries to come off the boards. In support is Iginla, working against Cody Ceci. Now loose again, and Chiesa will move it to the far side, and Bobby Ryan moves ahead to pass out of the reach of Zibanejad, and back in comes Duchesne. Trying to roll it through. Pass for Cody Ceci, one of the players that Paul McLean highlighted for his work in the first 3 games on the road. Chiesa. Now it's Jamie McGinn giving it away, and the Senators will bounce it out. So an eventful start. Tanguay from McKinnon and Briere. A Colorado goal at 1:25, then the injury to Red O'Bara. And we haven't hit the 5-minute mark. Hit by Brad Stewart, in behind the net. Now Zach Smith leans on his man. Smith back at center. Here's a chance for Zach Smith. Couldn't pull the trigger, now tries to center. Gets it back. At the point, Greiba drifts it in. That hit McKinnon. Picked up by Ottawa. A move here as Lazar tries to center it. Head to the point. Greiba sends it across. That shot off the blocker of Pickard. picked up by Lazar on the wing along with Zach Smith and McCulloch. He lost the handle. Daniel Briere will take over. And the Avalanche will send it off the boards down the ice, but an icing call, so no change for Patrick Roy. And a good shift for Zach Smith's line.
Really good pressure. They stayed on the puck well. There's the point shot from Gryba, and it's going to catch Nathan MacKinnon. You see him, he's not looking as he's turning towards where McCulloch is. The puck hits him. He was a little uncomfortable for about half that shift, and now Briere will take the draw to the right of Pickard.
Kyle Turris for Ottawa. And from the scrum, it comes back to the point, flipped in wide of the net. Carlson will pinch down, trying to seal the boards. Flipped over top of him and out to center. Chris Phillips, over 27 minutes in 2 of the first 3 games, did not have that much game time last year in any single game as Turris rolls it wide. MacArthur on the far side, battling for the puck. In support is Stone. Turris took a whack at it, and now it's out. And away goes Colorado on a 2-on-1. The pass across, denied by Carlson, and cleared back out to center. Dangerous attack with Cody McLeod loose.
That's not the way that defensive pairing's supposed to work. If someone's taking a chance, it's usually Carlson.
John Mitchell swinging wide, and it's offside against the Avs.
Protect your engine in temperatures as low as 40 below with Mobil 1.
Phillips steps up at the blue line and he gets burned as it turns into a quick 3-on-1, but that was a really nice play by Erik Karlsson to deny the pass and take away any scoring chance.
Zibanejad along with Ryan and GSO. Back in comes Ryan O'Reilly. Here's O'Reilly firing it. Sharp angle shot handled by Anderson, and he'll hold on. We played 6:18. The shots are even, but the Avalanche have the lead on a goal by Alex Tanguay. Home opener at the Canadian Tire Center. We're joined by Brent Wallace.
Well, Chris, as of tomorrow, Curtis Lazar has a new place to live. He is going to move in at the Chris Phillips household. The basement's been cleaned out for him. He's excited to go. I asked Phillips today, hey, any rules? He goes, we haven't discussed that yet. But the oldest son, Ben, who's 11, is pretty excited because he gets someone now to play video games with and street hockey. Guys?
That'll work well. Here's Brad Stewart trying to sift the shot through, deflects to the corner. O'Reilly's on it, plays it to the point. Another shot, knocked down en route, and GSO and Bobby Ryan to work. And up comes Carlson, and the play offside, close call at the Avalanche line.
They don't want Carlson to change his game. They want him to be aggressive, but sometimes you become the safety valve. Phillips makes a pinch at the blue line, and he doesn't get there quick enough. It turns into a 3-on-1, and the pass across from Tyson Barrie is scooped up by Erik Karlsson, and that gets Phillips off the hook.
Carlson go offside. What an ovation he got. Standing ovation as he is introduced as the captain of the team for the first time. So the fans certainly agree with the decision. Here's a turnover. Lazar back in. Curtis Lazar, and he whipped it high and wide. Good look for Lazar off that wing, and now Duchesne trying to track it down, gloved down, and brought in offside by Erik Johnson.
We talked about one of Colorado's keys to the game is managing the puck as they exit their line. Erik Johnson's pass is stopped. Good pinch by Gryba in the middle of the ice. There's nowhere for McGinn to go with the puck, and Lazar tries to go up over top of the shoulder of Pickard. Pickard does not look much different than Dustin Tokarski, the young Montreal goaltender. They're about the same size. Their strengths are much the same. They're very good with their side-to-side movement. Pickard's got 20 and 16 wins in his 2 years in the American League. This is his National Hockey League debut.
Here's a turnover, a steal by Eric Condra. Trying to get away from Daniel Briere. In behind the net it goes. Leguan to Condra. Hands it back to the point, and it deflected. Out at center ice, they'll have to reboot. Eric Gryba's paired with Ceci. Up ahead it goes, and a Patrick Wiercott paired with Ceci as the Senators send it in. Now Neal on the forecheck. Paul McLean looking for a better forecheck. Thought the team has been so focused on their defensive zone that the forechecking is now in need of a little extra work. Here's a turnover in the Ottawa zone. Comes back to the point, swung in by Stewart. Up with it, Tanguay. Now McKinnon to the attack. Max Talbot's got it behind the net. He'll swing it back. McKinnon wrap around. And MacArthur there to collect the puck. And stride out for Ottawa. 3-on-3 rush over the line with Stone. MacArthur trying to play it along for Turris. Back to Borowiecki. Bounced in front, knocked down by Stewart. Turris is on it. Points in all 3 games so far. Trying to center. And it does come out in front. Carlson spinning it, shooting it wide. Turris ties up his man in the corner. MacArthur crashing in there. And we've got our first penalty of the game at the 8:43 mark of this opening period.
Senators have done a decent job forechecking tonight. Chris, you mentioned that Paul McLean wants them to be more aggressive on the forecheck. Obviously, you spend more time in their zone. It takes some of the heat off your defense, and their pressure has led to a holding the stick penalty for Max Talbot. So Colorado shorthanded. They lose one of their best penalty killers. Their goaltender was in the American Hockey League this morning. We'll see how they make out here as there's the holding the stick. Good work by Turris and MacArthur to force the penalty. And the Senators' power play will get the game's first chance. 4 forwards and Patrick Wiercott on the ice.
And a face-off. Wiercott the shot, and that is blocked. And ricochets out to center. Wiercott at the wheel. Ottawa has a couple of power play goals. It's an offside here. And the Avalanche have killed 15 of 16 so far.
Pretty aggressive in the middle of the ice, and when that initial pass goes up to the Ottawa forward, the Avalanche converged on him. There was nowhere to go, and it turned into a little bit of a train wreck at the Colorado blue line.
Face-off win by Zibanejad. The Senators at 48.2% in the first 3 games, but on the road a little harder to win the face-offs. Been good so far tonight, but have to reboot out at center ice once again. Wiercott will lead them in. Flips it to the far side. Bobby Ryan plays it deeper. Will be swatted around by Holden, and it got past MacArthur and will end up behind the Ottawa net. Wiercott at the controls once again. Slowly through center. Sends it deep. First man on it was Ottawa, but Heda came up with it. It'll be played by Stone along the boards, and not enough for Carlson. Foot race, John Mitchell in behind Carlson. Shot scores! Short-handed goal, John Mitchell.
Patrick Roy was telling me yesterday that they missed Mitchell a lot, and they needed him, and were excited to have him back in the lineup. He hasn't played since last year, out with migraine headaches. They had him tested for everything, concussions and all kinds of different stuff. They kept coming back to the same problem. Finally cleared just yesterday to play. He pokes the puck past Carlson, and this goes through Craig Anderson's legs. 11 goals last year for John Mitchell. He's got 1 as he makes his return to the Avalanche lineup in his first 10 minutes. And Patrick Roy and the Avalanche have a quick 2-0 lead.
So the first shorthanded goal surrendered by Ottawa. 2-0 hole as they have a half minute remaining on the power play. Trying to get that back. Chipped in, and here's Stone off the wall. Plays it back. Turris a shot, and it ramped off a stick in front. And goes out of play off Alex Tanguay.
Mark Stone's shown a real knack for finding the open man on the ice. He makes a really good play here as Turris comes in late. And Stone, who looks like he's going to go through to the front of the net right here, is going to turn. His head doesn't even look like he sees Turris, but he's got him out of the corner of his eye. But that's a really good block by Colorado out front at the top of the face-off circle as Cody McLeod deflects Turris' shot up into the netting. 9 seconds of the power play. Lazar unable to come up with it, but Cody Ceci's got it.
looking for a shooting lane. Phillips moves in. Cross ice. Smith tried to send it across, and Duchesne was nearly away. Ceci retreats in his own zone as Talbot returns to the ice.
So many times in a home opener, the team comes out flat because they've been standing around for the ceremony.
Nice play by Lazar, and Pickard looked behind him. Curtis Lazar with his second chance as he dashed in on the off wing. No shots on the power play, a goal by John Mitchell shorthanded. And it's 2-0 Colorado. Nothing but star power on the red carpet tonight.
There's the author and his hired bodyguard, who, look at him guarding, Wardo guarding over top of Bob as he poses for pictures. And
James Duthie running for election.
he wins. That was quite a picture from his high school, wasn't it?
That's changed a bit. Face-off shot, bouncing in front, scores! Lazar took the shot. Let's see who finished it off.
Chris Phillips is already pointing to Scott Driscoll that they need that puck. It's Curtis Lazar's first National Hockey League goal. It bounces off of Pickard, up over top of his shoulder and into the net.
Make sure Zach Smith didn't help it in as he crashed the net afterwards, but they've got the souvenir puck. And he'd already had 2 chances in the period. Third one looks like it's the charm.
Real good draw again. Colorado stymies the draw initially, but it's Smith's secondary effort that bounces in, and the puck bounces into the net.
So the face-offs have been good for Ottawa in this first period, and they have something to show for it now. Curtis Lazar with his first National Hockey League goal and a penalty pending against the Avalanche. Eric Johnson's headed off.
There's the initial shot, and the penalty on Hayda. Get a look at Lazar's goal again. Quick shot by Lazar, it bounces off of Pickard up into the net. Everberg can't get there quick enough.
And is it Zach Smith's or is it the rookie? Now Smith's going to give it to Lazar, but
yes,
will the official scorekeepers give it to the rookie or not?
After that last commercial, Chris, the official came over to talk to Patrick Waugh, and Waugh was asking him, okay, look, this is what he said. He said, we put Varlamov on IR tonight. If we get another goalie hurt, what do we do? So they're trying to figure out now they don't have a backup goaltender available if Red O'Bara doesn't appear to be in the mix to come back into the game.
Here's Erik Karlsson sending it to Stone on his off wing, sidesteps the check. Got it around the board. Smith from Lazar, so they are giving it to Zach Smith. And Pickard has to be good on that with Mark Stone on the doorstep.
Wow, is Smith going to get it? The guys are going to give it to him in the room. They've already got the puck. So never mind. Now it becomes an assist for Lazar. The puck's right on the goal line.
And it's the right call.
It is the right call. It is Zach Smith's goal. But Lazar's had an impact here already for Ottawa in this first period. A couple of good hits, a couple of shots.
Face-off wins continue. That shot deflecting high up off the netting.
In the offensive zone, Ottawa's had a couple of really good chances off the face-off on that one side in particular. They've picked up a couple of chances. They've moved the puck decently. See if they settle into the game now that they're on the board.
Ottawa's won 14 of 18 face-offs so far, and they'll win another here. Comes back across to Karlsson. Works it back into the middle. Ryan's pass for Zibanejad. He fanned on it, got it again. Bobby Ryan at the left point. Karlsson played it through. Redirected from the slot, but doesn't get to the net. Zibanejad off the back of the net. Chiasson battles along the boards. Maintains control, cycles it to Zibanejad. And back to the point, left point, Ryan. They play it for Karlsson. Carlson trying to sift it across, and Erik Johnson got a stick on it. Back to Ryan again. Carlson's got a little room. In little middle it goes. Here comes the shot. Loose in front. They bang away at it, and down is Pickard, and he finds it to cover up.
Excellent power play for the Senators. It looks like the cobwebs are out. After the pregame ceremony, this play starts with a puck battle down by the hash marks, and Zibanejad makes an excellent effort to keep the play alive. He pokes it back to the point as he gets into the battle here with Erik Johnson and O'Reilly. It's Zibanejad's effort to Ryan, to Carlson, and now they're going to get the puck to the front of the net off of Bobby Ryan's shot. Traffic by Chiasson, rebound by McCulloch, and Pickard's able to keep it away, but that's really good work by the Senators here.
Face-off win by Mitchell, but Ottawa gets it back with 20 seconds of power play time left. Work back to Turris. And now Carlson shot, and that goes wide. Rebound for Wiercott. Clark MacArthur in the corner. Pounded there, and the puck comes loose. And John Mitchell will take over. Short-handed goal for Mitchell as he clears. Couple shots on a better power play. Look out. Wiercott lost an edge. Mitchell's got it again. Mitchell trying to center it off Patrick Wiercott in behind the net. Now the Avalanche will try and get something going. Played wide of the net by Holden. There's McGinley trying to twist away from Zach Smith. McGinn trying to return it. Jamie McGinn in the corner. Nice pass from Duchesne. Iginla. Nick Holden, 10 goals last year for Nick Holden in 54 games. A surprise offensive weapon off the blue line for Colorado. That's as many goals as PK Subban last year. Tripped up at center, another penalty upcoming as McCulloch is dumped at the red line. And Duchesne not happy with that call. So 5:53 left in the first period. And the Senators get their third power play of the night, looking for the equalizer on opening night.
The scramble is on for Colorado. There's Patrick Waugh talking to the trainer, getting an update on Red O'Bara's condition, having a word with Tim Army. Now he gets another update. This is a little bit later on, and that is in the last commercial where he gets over to the official and he says, I have a question. And as I mentioned earlier, he said, look, we put Varlamov on IR today. We don't have another goalie. What do we do? So the Avs are looking for the answer if something were to happen to Calvin Pickard.
Bobby Ryan, Erik Karlsson on the points on the third. Ottawa power play of the night. Ryan will save it at the line, flick it through, intercepted by Holden. Hit a teammate, hit Talbot in the back, but now they do clear. Well, you tell me he doesn't have pads anymore, but I'm all for him being next man up, Ray. Then we've really got a story.
That would be good, wouldn't it? I don't know if he could play the butterfly anymore.
551 National Hockey League wins. Pickard looking for his first, covers up.
The other night in Toronto, I hadn't been close to Patrick Waugh on the bench coaching. I couldn't believe how animated he is on the bench, how verbal he is to his players. Yet it was always pretty positive stuff. He was encouraging, he was up and down the bench. He always whistles when he wants a change. He's as active a coach behind the bench as I've seen.
Didn't have goalie skates this morning.
That's good. That's a good thing. Goalies that wear their goalie skates when they're retired just doesn't look right. It's like they got clown shoes on.
Erik Karlsson leads the Senators power play back in. David Legwand squeezed along the boards. Stone looks for the puck along with Legwand. Jan Heda is there. A centering pass is intercepted, and Cody McLeod will stride out. Hits the line, his shot ricochets into the corner. Newcomer for Alex Tanguay in front, a centering pass. And that shot went wide. Tanguay loose in front again. And now Ottawa heads north. Turris passed under the left wing, sent in deep. After it is Legwand. But the Avalanche are able to clear once again.
It's Nate Gannon with the clear. Played 68 of his 100 NHL career games last year. Kind of a bit part that they added to their lineup at the beginning of the year. He ended up becoming a mainstay for the Avs. They use him a lot in their first penalty kill group.
CC flips it deep. The goal scorer, Zach Smith, takes a jolt along the boards. There's McCulloch with it, out along with Lazar. Lazar with his first National Hockey League point on the assist. The goal credited to Smith. There's a pass into the middle for Zach Smith. He couldn't handle it, and Duchesne starts it back. Tyson Barrie over the line. He's hit by Wiercross along the boards. And the Senators send it back to the Colorado blue line. Here come the Avalanche over the line. Landeskog into the glove of Anderson. And he will hold on. Canadian Tire Senators Hockey on TSN is brought to you by Toyota's Happy 50th event, celebrating 50 great years in Canada. So the Senators 0 for 3 on the power play tonight. They have surrendered a shorthanded goal and trail 2-1.
At the very least, Chris, those power plays helped them establish a little tempo to their game. They were a little foggy out of the gate. They gave up the early one to Alex Tanguay. And now for the Avalanche on their side, they've got to stay out of the box. That's the first time we've seen Nathan MacKinnon in a long time. They just haven't been on the ice because they're killing penalties.
Here's Duchesne feeding it back to big Eric Johnson. Mobile defenseman trying to pivot away from the checking of Legwand. Canadian Olympian Matt Duchesne on it. They swivel there, a move trying to get past Gryba, and a penalty upcoming against Ottawa, and we will see the Avalanche power play for the first time tonight as Eric Gryba gets the gate.
Oh, Duchesne got the dance going there. He had a little bit of room. He was able to shift directions too quickly for Eric Gryba to keep up with. He makes the shift here, and there's the right arm of Gryba that ties up Matt Duchesne. And the Avalanche power play that was 5th in the NHL last year doesn't have a goal in their first 13 cracks at it this year. I think there's another area where they have to find the right connection and connection points to move the puck through. They missed Paul Stastny here.
MacKinnon moves up with the line mates he played with most of the postseason last year, the first round series against Minnesota. Anderson pouncing on it. It's O'Reilly, MacKinnon, and Landeskog to start on this Avalanche power play.
So they'll have the 4 forwards as well on the point. When the puck ends up on Alex Tanguay's stick, one of the direct lines that Ottawa's penalty killers have to take is to Eric Johnson. Tanguay doesn't want to shoot the puck first. He wants to lay that onto a one-timer for either MacKinnon or Johnson, but it's Johnson who's got the heavy shot at the point.
Legwand on this face-off against MacKinnon. O'Reilly along the boards, battling with Phillips. In support was Landeskog. It'll come back to Eric Johnson. Trapped there by Condra, as Bob McKenzie mentioned, stays in the lineup because of his good work on the penalty kill. Out there right now with Legwand. MacKinnon passing it back, and it's O'Reilly who led them in power play points last year. Center scores! Landeskog has the power play goal and his first of the season.
MacKinnon was talking to Brent Wallace before the game about his slow start and how you don't want to panic. Well, he's got a couple assists here in the first period as well that breaks him out of his slump. Nice little give and go, O'Reilly and MacKinnon. This shot actually deflects off of Chris Phillips' stick up over the shoulder of Craig Anderson. This puck is going to the blocker side of Anderson. It changes direction about 2.5 feet, beats Anderson up over the glove. The Avs have a power play goal and restored their 2-goal lead again.
So the Avalanche, who had not scored more than 2 goals in a game coming in, score 3 in the first tonight. Landeskog from MacKinnon and O'Reilly at 17:38, the power play goal. Bobby Ryan's on it. Zibanejad behind the net. Chiasson now has it, trying to skeet away from Jerome McGinley. Ryan trying to help out behind the goal with under 2 minutes left in this opening period. Erik Karlsson returning it to Wiercross. Shots are 8-6 in favor of Ottawa. Fair play out to Wiercross, a pass center off the stick of Mark Stone. Brad Stewart was there, and now we've got another penalty. Is this Kyle Turris?
Nobody seems to know who the
That's
penalty
going
is.
against Colorado. Saw Turris hang his head a bit after the whistle went, but it is Briere that goes off, and for the fourth time in the period, Ottawa will have a power play.
Tough to maintain anything if you're Colorado when you're shorthanded again.
But the Senators have to start taking advantage. Fired around by Gannon, and it will slide 200 feet. So 70 seconds left in the period. Chance for the Senators to get within one. But look out! Giveaway here! Talbot trying to get on it. And recovering was MacArthur on that line back pass that didn't work. Now they're pointed in the right direction, or are they? Talbot breaks it up and flips it back in. Carlson winding up. Sends it in. Erik Johnson, first man to it. Senators will take it away. Chiasson. Up top for Carlson. Legwand's pass broken up by Tanguay, can't clear. Now a chance to get it out, and Jan Hejda does.
The Avalanche are really aggressive on the kill here. Tanguay got up close to Erik Karlsson. He chipped it back towards Legwand, and Jan Hejda was standing there as well.
Time for one last rush in the period. Weirkosh over the line. Chips it in, goes after it against Hejda. Erik Johnson gets it free. Ryan O'Reilly can't get it past Zibanejad, but the clock has drained, and the period is done. Patrick Roy's crew gets a power play goal, a shorthanded goal, and an unlikely goaltender in this opening period of play in the home opener for the Ottawa Senators, and it's the visitors with a 3-1 lead after 20 minutes. It's Canadian Tire sends hockey on TSN. Kinetic first period in the home opener at the Canadian Tire Center. You're watching Senators hockey on TSN 3-1. After 20 minutes of play, an early goal, a shorthanded goal, and a power play goal for Colorado, and Zach Smith, and not Curtis Lazar, credited with the goal for the Senators. Our first period scoring summary brought to you by Metro Ford Dealers of Ottawa. Couple of assists for Nathan MacKinnon in that opening period, Ray, and the slow start for Nathan MacKinnon apparently is over.
Yeah, it ended pretty quickly, didn't it? Under a minute and a half into the game, MacKinnon gets involved in a turnover just outside the Senators' blue line. MacKinnon jumps on the loose puck, finds Alex Tanguay, and he's got his second assist of the season. About 3 or 4 minutes later, he's going to check Milan Michalek by the net. He gets hit in the back of the arm with a shot. He was on the mend for a little bit, and then on the power play, he finds Gabriel Landeskog in the middle of the ice. Landeskog chips it up over Craig Anderson, so a couple assists for MacKinnon, who didn't get a lot of ice time as they spent much of that first period killing penalties.
So we start the second period. Ottawa has the power play. Just under 40 seconds of managed time available with Briere in the box. Senators advance. Chipping it in. Pickard will steer it away. Sent to the line. It'll be held in by Carlson. Holds on to it there. Puts it to the net. Traffic in front. And back out to Carlson. Slap pass doesn't get to Stone. Was cut off by Tanguay, who's had a good night so far. And he'll drift it in and head to the bench on a change. Carlson one last dash as Briere gets set to return. It'll be centered in front and deflected just off target. Briere on, native of Gatineau. He's on the ice here along with Mitchell. Briere takes a look and snaps the shot into the glove of Craig Anderson.
Rough period for Craig Anderson. He gave up the quick one a minute, 25 seconds into the game, coming off a shutout in his last start down in Florida. Then the shorthanded breakaway. The third one was a deflection off of Chris Phillips' stick. And Anderson wants to be able to lock the door down here and give his team a chance to come back against the Colorado team that can get a little loose defensively.
Former member of the Avalanche who has not had a lot of success against his old team. Here's the Lazar shot, and a hot one steered aside by Pickard. Lazar on the forecheck now, chasing Duchesne, who gets it to Eric Johnson. Zach Smith steals it, takes it away. McCulloch follows up, whacks at it along the boards. Been a pretty good line so far tonight with Smith and Lazar, joined by McCulloch, an outlet that just failed to click. As an icing call against Colorado gives us a chance to check in with Brent Wallace.
Well, Chris, they continue to evaluate Reid O'Bara. That's the latest update I've gotten from the Colorado Avalanche. Now, there have been questions about what would happen if Pickard gets hurt. Well, they can either get a player on the bench and put him in, or they can sign somebody out of the stands if they want to and sign him to a contract, and they can get him in net as soon as possible. Guys?
So we're taking volunteers.
Well, you always think if there is a player to go in, you start poking around the defenseman and you think, well, who'd be a candidate to do that? And kind of look around, there's Brad Stewart, there's Jan Hayda, but I can't believe there's a great list of volunteers to be the next guy in there.
Avalanche win that face-off, just their 9th of 30 in the game, so a big edge in that department tonight for Ottawa. Here's Weirkosh sending it ahead. Left wing feed out of the reach of Legwand, and that's an icing call against Ottawa. Well, an unusual circumstance. We watched Varlamov this morning. Didn't look like there was anything wrong, and shortly after the morning skate, they announced he was on IR. They were really encouraged by the way Reto Berra played in the preseason. Went to Switzerland and worked with Francois Allaire, and then in Quebec City prior to the season was arguably their best man in training camp, and he doesn't last the first period here in his second start.
And they acquired him from Calgary at the deadline last year, and it seemed an odd deal at the time, but they knew J.S. Giguère was going to retire, and they had some faith in Berra that he could be an NHL goaltender. He was terrific in his first start of the season, and unfortunately for he and the Avalanche, was knocked out of this game very quickly.
Here's Bobby Ryan from his knees, swinging it in front. Off Pickard. Carlson will move up. Here's the captain sending it across. It'll ricochet to Phillips, but he was in the back pedal and couldn't reach it. He was in between like Carlson was on the shorthanded goal by Mitchell. Tanguay plays it off the end boards. It reaches the other veteran winger on this line, Briere, jostled by Phillips. Back to the point. The Tyson Berry shot is off target, and Chiasson starts back. Unable to hook up with Zibanejad. And Berry once again. Good year for Tyson Berry, and it ended in controversial style with an injury on a hit by Matt Cook in the first round of the playoffs as Anderson covers up on the shot by Talbot. And there's Borowiecki jostling in front, and the gloves come off.
That's Cody
Along
McLeod.
with Cody McLeod, no stranger to this. McLeod involved with Adam McQuaid in Boston the other night. And Borowiecki will go off. His first home opener, Ray, as a player, but not his first Ottawa home opener. He and the Canada Blazers, when he was 5 years old, played in the first intermission of the very first home opener here at the then Palladium, now the Canadian Tire Center.
That is a small circle, isn't it?
Mom and Dad season ticket holders for a long time, and he was pretty excited about being in this lineup tonight. And he has established a role for himself in this team, Ray, as the hard rock on the blue line.
He and Greiba had some bite to the blue line. Now he's taken the extra minor here. So down 3-1, Ottawa already given up a power play goal this evening. We'll have to try and stymie this Colorado power play here.
You mentioned fifth ranked last year. Hit on their first tonight and their first of the season after missing on their 13, for their first 13 advantages.
Chris, back to Varlamov just for a second. The other night in Toronto, there was a play where he got up and he was looked a little uncomfortable. He was stretching his legs a little bit. As we noted this morning, was really active in the morning skate, but he talked to the trainer right at the end of practice. And then we get a note an hour later, he's on IR.
O'Reilly won the face-off. There's McKinnon. Pair of assists so far for the Cole Harbour native, who swings it back to the point. Eric Johnson for O'Reilly. Landis Cox in the slot. Tanguay on this near side. Tanguay back across. Ryan O'Reilly returns it. Tanguay off balance, didn't get a good shot away, and now it's taken away by the Senators, and Greiva clears.
Good side-to-side puck movement by Colorado, and Ottawa looked like they were in the scramble, but the defensemen held their lanes pretty well and stymied that play.
Here's McKinnon back in, tried to feed it across. The pass was cut off, and Stone unable to get away. It was bounced off balance, and you hear the reaction of fans looking for a penalty. Eric Johnson starts back. That pass broken up and returned into Avalanche territory.
He also may end up on the watch list at the dive league at the diving list at the league after that attempt.
Good lead feed up to Jerome McGinley, 560 NHL goals. Tanguay hopped off in a hurry. Tyson Barrie's got the puck. He'll feed to Duchesne. Trying to swivel away, puts it in front. Backhand in deep. Duchesne centers, and Wirkosh got a stick on that. McGinn for Duchesne. Back into the far corner. Holden has moved up. Gives it back to Duchesne. Tried to feed the point. That didn't get there cleanly. And now at the line, it'll be chipped up by Lazar. So there's Lazar getting some penalty killing duty. Barrie starts back. Dying seconds of the power play. Tyson Barrie cutting in centers, and a big stop there by Anderson off of Gimlet. Chris Neal out of the penalty box, serving the extra 2 minutes. McGinley again. Tyson Barrie. Jerome McGinley's shot knocked down in front of the net. McGinley on it again. 560 goals. That's tied with Guy Lafleur, so he'll move ahead of Lafleur with his next goal and into a tie with Bobby Hull with his next point. Carlson whips it high, and Pickard stops the hot shot and doesn't provide a rebound.
Carlson a little frustrated. He had some room on the other side of the net. He doesn't hit this where he wants to. This is at the tail end of the power play. Really nice rush by Tyson Barrie. He gets it onto the tape of McGinley, who's in between the dots, stick on the ice, and that's on and off his stick in an instant. Really good positioning by Craig Anderson, but a nice rush by Tyson Barrie to set that up.
McGinley looking for his first goal as a member of the Avalanche. Took 9 games to score his first last year in Boston, but ended up with his 12th 30-goal season.
He's never been a great starter anywhere.
But when he does get hot,
oh boy, and it just seemed last year, is this going to be a power play here for Colorado?
Nate Gannon flipping it over the glass, and so a penalty to Gannon and another power play for Paul McLean Senators.
The guys talked about Curtis Lazar's first period. He had his first NHL point, but he also was really physical. It's Lazar's effort here that makes Gannon feel like he doesn't have enough time to make a play. He goes to flip it off the glass and chips it up over the glass. Ottawa can't ask for too many more gift chances like this. They got to take advantage of one of these.
John Mitchell won the face-off, but the Senators get it back. Turris at the point. Cross to Carlson. Legwand's up front along with MacArthur and Stone. Mark Stone looking for his first home goal as an Ottawa Senator. Tap back to Carlson. Shot doesn't get through. It was denied by Talbot. They'll set it up again, and another shot. That time it goes wide. Ottawa recovers. Carlson a third time. Big blast, and Pickard fought that off. Into the corner it goes. Legwand leans on his man. Good recovery. Ottawa with it again. It's Carlson. 5-shot scores. David Legwand has his first as a Senator.
Excellent retrieval by the Senators. They've done a nice job of this tonight. Whenever there's been a loose puck, They've been on it and had enough manpower on it to get the puck loose. Carlson's shot goes wide earlier. Look, it's leg one stick that keeps this alive to MacArthur. That keeps the play alive. Now leg one's on the loose puck. There's Stone for support. Here comes MacArthur. They outman the Avalanche to the puck. The Carlson shot is deflected off of Pickard, and there's David Legwand with his first as an Ottawa Senator. And the power play goal has brought the Senators back.
Carlson will get an assist. That's points in 3 for the captain. And they're back within 1 on a power play goal. Carlson knocks it down, shoots, and he fired it high. Onto the far side, some momentum here. A surge by Ottawa. Now trying to get even. McKinnon overskates it in his own zone. Hayden will play it back. The fans are in it. As the power play goal, Carlson and Turris. Kyle Turris now has points in all 4 Senator games. Here comes Nathan McKinnon. Back into the Ottawa zone. Watched there by Phillips. Landeskog in support. It got by McKinnon and will slide down into Colorado ice. Time of the power play goal, 6:11. McGinley at his own line, up off Duchesne. Weirkosh plays it onto the right side. Chiasson took it neatly. Zibanejad after it. Tyson Barrie there for the Avalanche in his own zone, and in support, it's taken away by Iginla. Rolling it ahead for Duchesne, who gathers speed. Chips it in, trying to get past Weirkosh. Iginla followed up, and now Duchesne. McGinn in front of the net as it comes back to the point for Brad Stewart. Iginla can't reach it. Around to the near side, Bobby Ryan knocked off stride. Ryan gets up, the puck is still in his neighborhood. Works along the boards. And is upended. Seemed to take a high stick and is on the limp a bit as he makes his way slowly to the Ottawa bench.
He made a nice effort to clear the puck out. He actually shoveled it out with his hand twice before it finally went out over the blue line and ended up a little banged up here.
Protect your engine in temperatures as low as 40 below with Mobil 1 Advanced Fuel Economy. Mobil 1. Energy lives here.
5 goals in the game, Ray, and all 5 by first-time scorers in the 2014-15 campaign.
I didn't have much of a feel this was going to be a 1-0 game. Not the way these teams play.
Although neither team had scored over 2 in regulation prior to tonight.
It just didn't see, I don't know, Colorado makes you play fast, and you know Ottawa wants to score more than they have.
It goes for Neal, he can't deflect it out. Talbot in the corner battling for it. Cody McLeod in to help out as Gryba was tying up Talbot. And another penalty. And now we've got a fight as McLeod drops it with Chris Neal. And Neal goes to work with the right hand. And staggers Cody McLeod. First major penalty of the season for Chris Neal. Over 2,200 penalty minutes in his robust career. Gryba got the initial penalty, a power play for Colorado.
Senators short-handed. Eric Gryba with the high sticking penalty. Actually, they called him for the hold later on. There he is. He's got a grip on Max Talbot's stick, and there's McLeod and Neal. McLeod was mixed up with Borowiecki a little earlier. They earned their 5-minute break.
Avalanche 1 for 2 on the power play. And sent back here. Zibanejad will check out. Like had a ski issue, so he goes to the bench. PSL and McCulloch, the penalty-killing tandem, as Tanguay made the extra move at the line. And it's offside. And Bobby Ryan has gone to the dressing room.
Senators down a forward as Ryan was tied up along the sideboards. He gets his foot knocked out underneath him there from Jamie McGinn, and then the battle goes up the boards. He ends up pushing it out twice with his glove. But he was slow to his feet and was immediately slow to the bench. He's kind of worked his way over there, sat on the bench for a moment, but he's now in the locker room.
McKinnon came up with that puck, got it to Eric Johnson, returns it to the Calder Trophy winner, and a shot into the glove of Greg Anderson.
Wow, did he get rid of that in a hurry? There wasn't much room for Nathan McKinnon to get rid of the puck off the top of the circle, and he shot it through the screen, forced Anderson into a pretty sharp save. Look how quickly McKinnon gets into the scoring zone, and Cece's out trying to deny him to the front of the net. But he gets close enough and gets a good scoring chance.
That Minnesota series last year, he had 2 3-point games and a 4-point game in Game 2 that, Ray, I thought was as good an individual performance as I've seen in a long time. He was sensational that night. His speed was so impressive it spawned a new Twitter account, Spurgeon's Ankles, because Jared Spurgeon, a pretty good skater in his own right, had some trouble with that speed on that night.
That's got to be a bad sight. Somebody like that coming in full flight. Nobody slowed them down or broken a stride.
10 minutes gone, second period. And 40 seconds left in the Greiva penalty.
Really good read by Carlson. Johnson's breakout pass came up the middle of the ice, and Carlson was right in McGinn's hip pocket to poke it down the ice.
Barry fires it around. Carlson there for Ottawa. They crash in behind the net. Avalanche are up with it. Tyson Barrie flips it in behind the net. Centered McGinn. What a chance. And out to make the stop was Anderson. Jamie McGinn, the former 67, with a great chance. Teed up by Gimla and a block there. McCulloch dove to make the block. Now it's Duchesne. A push here late in the power play, but McCulloch intercepts and clears, and Greiva returns. That's a big block by Milan McCulloch. Couple of shots for the Avalanche. 1 for 3 on the night as Tyson Barrie cruises back in, feeds it across, and that shot is off Mitchell's stick and up onto the netting. So 9 minutes left here in the second period. It's a 1-goal.
Senators get lucky and a couple of good plays to keep the puck out of the net shorthanded. Really good forecheck here on the power play by Colorado. Jamie McGinn gets to the loose puck as they've outnumbered the Senators. Barrie will go back behind the net to Duchesne, and then McGinn, who started the play, rigs this off the goalpost. And as the play continues, Iginla right in the middle of the ice. Excellent effort by Milan McCulloch, as you mentioned, Chris, to get across the ice, lay out, and block the shot.
Avalanche win the draw, kicked out by Anderson. Colorado has won 8-15 in the second period after Ottawa won 70% of the faceoffs in the first. And there's another stop by Anderson. So the Avalanche starting to put pressure on in the midway portion of this second period. Played ahead by Zach Smith off McCulloch. Lazar chasing after it. And a counter here for Talbot. Max Talbot with Everberg over the line. Plays it in behind the net for the rookie Swedish forward, taking a shift with Duchesne. McCulloch around the boards, and Lazar with a quick outlet, a slip play, and Ottawa away. Cody Cece tried to fire it in, and the play is offside at the Avalanche line.
The Senators look for a way to apply a little bit of pressure to the Colorado Avalanche, and they're probably not going to hurt that Bobby Ryan's back in the lineup. It's been a quiet night for Ryan here. Slow start to the season, and they'd love to get him involved in the offense.
Had 6 goals in his first 9 games last year. Briere knocked off stride and drive it back in his own zone. Onto the left wing for Condra. Clean breakout, and Condra into the zone, takes a hit from Eric Johnson. It's been a dangerous area, that Johnson side of the ice in the early part of the season. A huge hit on Eric Halla that had Johnson ejected, and he had a Leaf lined up the other night that could have been a Richter scale hit as well. Canadian Tire Senators hockey on TSN continues October 28th with the Columbus Blue Jackets. It all gets underway 7 Eastern, 8 Atlantic on TSN 5. Available in the Sens region. For complete channel listings, visit tsn.ca/5. So good to see Ryan back on the ice for Ottawa. Face-off won by the Senators, fired down the ice, icing Wade. Clark MacArthur regained his footing and got to the puck first. Turris along the boards, MacArthur digs it out, Carlson across, and that's off the skate to Phillips, who hands it away, and here's O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly wide, circles the net. Centers, McKinnon off the post, loose in front of the net. And Carlson gets it back and starts out. 4 Senators to the attack. Rolled through for Turris. And now MacArthur after it, took it away from Tyson Barrie. Centered, and that one didn't work. It comes back to Wiercott. He banned on it, couldn't get it to Turris. And it was intercepted by Landeskog, who flips it in and actually flips it out of play. With 6:54 to go, McKinnon with a pair of assists, and now a post that has him shaking his head.
There's a turnover in the middle of the ice. Chris Phillips coughs it up to Ryan O'Reilly, and O'Reilly makes a really nice play as he has patience to go back around the net. He holds it. Turris doesn't get his stick in to deny the pass to McKinnon, and McKinnon's shot rings off the post. That's 2 for them in just a matter of minutes.
Now Anderson will hold on to that long-range shot from Nate Gannon. McKinnon had 28 goals in his Calder Trophy winning season.
So in the middle of the ice, his natural position this year. It's been a little bit of a slow start, and it'll be interesting to see as John Mitchell gets more up to speed what the Avalanche do in the middle of the ice. Will they move O'Reilly to the wing? Will McKinnon go to the wing? Because one of them will. That's where they both had much success last year.
And almost assuredly, it'll be O'Reilly, McKinnon, and Landeskog. And what a line potentially that could be. Here comes Duchene dancing in, and Anderson, quick right pad save. Loose in front, McGinn chopped at it. Duchene unable to come up with it cleanly. Johnson a shot, and Anderson stops that. Best sequence of the night for Anderson. A blocker stop there as he's peppered with shots here by the Avalanche, who now have the edge in shots. It's 19-15 in favor of Colorado.
Don't forget, this is the problem that Ottawa ran into on the road trip. They gave up just over 36 shots a game. They were in decent shape early, but they've been run on a little bit here in the second period.
13-7, a steal, Zach Smith shot, and he's stopped by Pickard, who came out to challenge him. Smith again with it, already a goal in the game. Flips it to the rookie Lazar, ducks the check of Johnson. Now it's McCulloch on his backhand into the slot. And will send it in for Lazar. Tracked there by John Mitchell. We'll try and start the grind on Colorado here with a line that's had some moments tonight. Zach Smith, McCulloch, and Lazar. There's Lazar getting it to McCulloch. Had it knocked away from him, and the Avalanche work it out. Tanguay at the line, holds on to the puck, swings it deep for Mitchell in behind the net with Briere. So that adjustment has been made as Mitchell has now moved in between Briere and Tanguay. Back to Tyson Barrie. And it goes for Mitchell, who has a short-handed goal in front, and that one just tipped wide. Another chance, and Barrie knocked down at the side of the net.
That was an open net for Landeskog. He just shoved it wide of the net.
Hayda across, more pressure. Here's McKinnon and Barrie. Back to Nathan McKinnon. Heavy traffic in front of the net. Tyson Barrie shooting it. A stop by Anderson. Puck into the air. Landeskog will bring it down. And that pass off a stick and back down into the Avalanche zone to help relieve the pressure. Lead feed for McKinnon, bounce past him. It's an icing call against Colorado. Well, Zach Smith had a chance just before that last Avalanche flurry.
Much like when Chris Phillips turned the puck over in the middle of the ice, it's the neutral zone turnover that's the problem. Erik Johnson's got full control of the puck, and it's poked away by Zach Smith. Pickard comes out of the net up to the top of the blue paint to make a right pad save on Smith. 14 and 13 goals in his last 2 full seasons. 111 penalty minutes last year as well.
Paul McLean liked the way Curtis Lazar played in the middle, felt Zach Smith is better at center and that Lazar is just as adept on the wing, so for the time being, they're together with Smith back at center ice.
Last year in the World Junior Tournament, we saw Lazar play all 3 forward positions and he didn't seem to be bothered moving around, whether it was left wing, right wing, or center.
Here's McKinnon working in and a quick shot on Anderson that stopped. A glimpse of Nathan McKinnon there on that last rush. Played by Landeskog, back to McKinnon. They lose possession of the puck and a counter here for Ottawa. Zibanejad bounced it in. Crazy hop. Zibanejad plays it in behind the net. Chiasson's on it. Phillips across. Carlson room to fire it. And that went off an Avalanche player wide.
Well, McKinnon's done just about everything tonight. That was his block as well. Whatever a slow start was, I would say that's long gone now.
Now a pass across. Chiasson front. What a stop. Pickard came post to post and brought Bobby Ryan.
What a spectacular play, Chris.
Save of the night.
Unreal puck movement and an even better stop.
Zach Smith back in front, and that went off the skate of Lazar. Smith reaching for it again. Senators come that close to tying the game, and the rookie making his NHL debut has a highlight reel save already. Kept in by Wiercaution. Oh, I don't think Pickard saw that. Centered in front, and it deflects high over Cody Ceci and back out to center. Spectacular save, and then a tough stop on a funny deflection that nearly caught Pickard off guard. Mark Stone played it across. It'll be flipped in by Ceci, and now Ottawa starts to gain momentum again. Stone, Turris, and MacArthur on the ice. MacArthur in front, off his skate. Plays it back to Borowiecki. And it's Gryba, his shot off a stick, ricochets to the corner. Pushed here by Ottawa, looking for the equalizer. Under 2 minutes to go here in period 2. Gryba sends it deep. Stone in behind the net. There's Turris, who has extended his point streak to 4. Kyle Turris along the boards. Back to Borowiecki. Deflects to the side of the net. MacArthur on it first. Grinding now the Avalanche on this shift. Moving up, Borowiecki in front. And Turris unable to reach it to redirect at the far post. And out of play. And a much needed whistle for the Avalanche as the Senators apply pressure. And an enormous stop by Calvin Pickard to keep this game a 1-goal lead.
Well, the best save of Calvin Pickard's young NHL career. Zibanejad, Chiasson, Ryan, what a stop. Left pad stop as he goes left to right, back to his left again. Toe stop for Pickard, and Ryan can only shake his head as he continues to look for his first.
Bobby Ryan, Clark MacArthur led the Senators in home goals last year, 13 apiece. Mark Stone sends it in. Final minute, second period. 1-goal Colorado lead, and Duchesne dashes away into the Ottawa zone. A pass picked off as coming back was MacArthur. Leaves it for Carlson and Phillips. And the big rig gets things organized. And hands it off for Carlson. Slowly working ahead, and that pass knocked down by Jamie McGinn. Shot, and Anderson stopped him and took a whack that will draw the ire of the Senators.
They get up tight to McGinn and have him scram from the front of the net. Man, this has not been a good second period for Chris Phillips. He turns it over again. McGinn's shot is stopped by Anderson. You saw Anderson turn his head, and then Carlson shoved Jamie McGinn out of the way. after a couple of nights of upwards of 25 minutes, it's been a little bit of a rougher go for Phillips tonight.
The draw, Zach Smith prevails. Drive up off the boards and out. And is this going to be icing? It will be. 20 seconds left. And another face-off in the Ottawa zone.
Senators have on this line a couple of centermen. Smith will take the draw even though it's on his weak side. Lazar would be the second one in. Smith and Mitchell on the draw, two pretty good draw men.
And out of that scrum, the Senators come away with the puck. It's flipped ahead and down there by Lazar. Good battle by Lazar in behind the net. Time winding down. Can they generate another chance? Here's a centering pass. Briere is there. And that's going to do it for period number 2. 17 shots for the Avalanche in the second period. 11 for the Senators. Pickard's been good. And it's 3-2. Avalanche have won 7 straight meetings against the Senators. And here at the Canadian Tire Center, as we get set for the third period, they have a 3-2 lead. Our second period scoring summary is brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And Ray Curtis Lazar was a guy we thought was on the scoring summary as a goal scorer in the first period.
Yeah, picked up an assist in the first period on that shot that Zach Smith put into the net. So Lazar's had just a terrific game, and it really has had a terrific year. In the past calendar year, he's played about 100 hockey games. He went to the Memorial Cup. He played in the World Junior Championship. He's shown versatility, but what I love most about his game is for a young player, he still plays very powerfully. Now, he's going to get so much stronger in the next couple of years. You see him on the body. You see him on the forecheck. He kills penalties. He plays the middle. He plays the wing. The Ottawa Senators, the 17th pick in the 2013 draft. I think they've got themselves a pro that's not going to see a day of light in the American Hockey League ever. This kid is an NHL player already, and he looks like he's ready to contribute, not just be a player that occupies a spot.
Even at center ice, he was good in the face-offs. In his first 2 games, he was 8-8, so 50% right out of the gate. So what you're saying, Ray, is you're not going to see him at the World Junior Championship.
I don't think there is a chance. The only way he's going to go is if he buys a ticket, but he'll probably get a free one as an alumni. What a clever player. I saw it last year at the World Juniors. I thought I saw a guy that looked more mature than a lot of the Canadian players in that tournament. And then watching him in the preseason and early in this, he just looks like he's ready for it.
Here comes McKinnon dashing in. What a hot shot that was on his first rush of the period. He's feeling it now. Back to Eric Johnson, a shot off target. This Landeskog had a flyby in front of the net. So a quick start, but now a counter here for Ottawa. 4 men invading Colorado ice, and Carlson shot it, and it deflects high and onto the netting. So a quick start. First 28 seconds here in the third.
Look how quickly he gets outside of Chris Phillips. What a burst of speed by McKinnon. That actually hits the shaft of Craig Anderson's stick and deflects up in the air. And we talked in the pregame about McKinnon looking frustrated a little bit in Toronto on Tuesday night. You're right, Chris, he does feel it now. When he gets the puck, there's a definite idea where he wants to go with it. He's been the most effective Avalanche player tonight.
6 shots already in the game for Nathan McKinnon of the 24 that the Avalanche have generated so far. Again, big check on Borowiecki, but Borowiecki hung in there, stayed with it, and an outlet to Lazar. Right wing feed knocked out of midair by Duchesne. McCulloch has to check up. Zach Smith tried to clear it in off Duchesne. The pass nearly was a giveaway, but now the Avalanche are ahead. Out at center is Gata and Duchesne. Pass intercepted, and Cody Ceci gets control. Here come the Senators. Lazar at the end of a shift will bounce it in. Pickard left it at the side of the net. And out comes Nick Gannon. dispatch it into Ottawa ice. Cody Ceci had his stick lifted, but Zibanejad in support, able to dump it out to center. Chiasson knocked his man down, Brad Stewart. Ceci intercepted at center, and Briere gets it back. Last time Ottawa beat Colorado at home was 2004. They'll have to come back tonight. Down by 1 here with 18 minutes left. Carlson steps up. Captain sends it right on net. Gotta hand it to Calvin Pickard. He has been unflappable in his NHL debut. And there's another good stop. This one off Condra. And Pickard holds on.
Protect your engine in temperatures as low as 40 below with Mobil 1 Advanced Fuel Economy. Mobil 1. Energy lives here.
Avalanche control off the face-off. Erik Johnson trying to pivot away from the forechecking of Condra. Kept in by Legwand. He's tied up by Holden in front of the Avalanche bench. Erik Johnson ahead, deflecting off the stick of Everberg. He goes down, but following up Talbot the shot, and Anderson stopped that. And away goes Zibanejad, along with Chiasson. Sent in, and Zibanejad after it. Next, Talbot lost it in front, Chiasson. And Zibanejad unable to get a shot away. And Zibanejad's going to get a penalty. A little frustrated with the call. And he'll be headed off. Dan O'Rourke making the call. As Tyson Barrie was dumped.
Zibanejad gets his arm up and clips Tyson Barrie right across the helmet. A little bit of frustration from Zibanejad as he's lost the puck. He goes across the slot. And he interferes with Tyson Barrie. There's the penalty there. So Colorado goes on the board.
So the fourth power play of the night for the Avalanche. They'll be sent back into their own zone. Erik Johnson, Alex Tanguay, McKinnon up front, along with O'Reilly and Landeskog. David Legwand in a penalty-killing role with Condra, and it's offside at the line. 20 seconds into the man advantage.
There's one spot both teams have had trouble with on the power play. It's their entries at times into the offensive zone. As soon as they lose speed, the penalty killers are able to defend the line and not give them any access to it. And the Avalanche go offside again tonight.
Avalanche were outshot in the third period in Toronto 15-5. After the game, Patrick Roy thought his team showed some signs of fatigue playing their second game in as many nights early in the season. Well, this is the third in 4. They'll play in Montreal on Saturday night. Nathan McKinnon a shot, and that's gloved and held by Craig Anderson.
That's the second time tonight they've run that same little play that's ended with a McKinnon snapshot from the top of the circle. Erik Johnson walks to the middle, and he goes back to McKinnon. What may open up is if Ottawa starts to defend that play, Johnson's going to have a cleaner lane to the front of the net for a shot from in the middle of the ice.
Former Halifax Moosehead had 8 power play goals in his rookie year. Face-off won by O'Reilly. Erik Johnson sends it across. Tanguay fired wide. O'Reilly gets it back. He's bumped by Phillips. Tied up by McKinnon. Landeskog, the captain's got it. He has scored tonight, lost it here, and Condra on the backhand will bounce it out to center. Erik Johnson will saucer to Tanguay, and back in they come. Landeskog stood up there. Good hard play by Phillips. And the Senators clear. It's like Erik Johnson's starting to elevate his game, as you'd expect from a #1 pick in the 2006 draft. He covers a lot of ice, doesn't he?
He does, and he's also looks like he's a lot more confident and more aggressive on the ice. Not as unsure as he moves around like he had been in the past. Last year was a big year for him. He really took a step forward here in Colorado as the centerpiece of that big trade a couple of years ago.
Back in comes Duchesne, looking for Iginla. On his off wing, snaps the shot, gets blocked by Graba. And a chance to clear, and they do in the final 10 seconds of the Zibanejad minor. Holden plays back into his own zone, and the Senators are back at full strength. So we approach 5 minutes of the third period. It remains a one-goal Colorado lead. Off the bench, Zach Smith knocked it down, a delayed offside, but Colorado advances. Duchesne is on it. Here's Matt Duchesne looking to center, and that pass cut off by Stone. Following up is Lazar. Moving up is Wierkosh, a big hit by Brad Stewart on Patrick Wierkosh. In the corner, a battle for it. Along the boards, Wierkosh trying to seal that wall, and it comes back to Zach Smith, and weak shot turned away by Pickard. Kyle Turris is after it. Pass on to the near side, and Tanguay will just flip to center as the Avalanche are in the midst of a change. 27-22, the shots on goal favor the Avalanche, and now Turris to the attack. Works his way over the line, but lost control of it. He'll go after it against Johnson, take him to the boards. Flipped by John Mitchell to his defenseman, Hayda. Spun around by MacArthur. Stone centered. MacArthur, bouncing shot, loose and thrown, and Stone is robbed at the lip of the crease. Close call. Mark Stone comes back at center, has it, gives it back to MacArthur. He has it knocked away by Alex Tanguay, and now Tanguay looks for a loose puck down in the Ottawa zone, swept away by Anderson, and cleared out to center ice. Tyson Barrie gains the red line, sends it back in, and first man on it, Ryan O'Reilly, the former Erie Otter, sends it back, and a hot shot by Holden, off target. Barrie on the far side, to the side of the net. There's O'Reilly, trying to spin against Erik Karlsson, who continues to track him up high. Holden now knocked away by Karlsson, and it's Condra up ahead. Chris Neal flips it in, and he'll get a piece of Barrie in the corner. Puck is centered, but O'Reilly came back to intercept, and now the penalty will be called against the Avalanche. It'll be Nick Holden off for 2 minutes or less, and the Senators will get a power play and an opportunity to equalize. Ottawa on the power play.
Senators look for the equalizer on the power play. There's Nick Holden for boarding on Erik Condra. Just prior to that, good work in the corner. Stone gets to the loose puck. MacArthur's shot is knocked out of the air by Kyle Turris. Pickard with one stop, and as the rebound went to Stone, he flicked out the left leg to make another.
Ottawa 1 for 5 on the power play tonight. Have to go back in their own zone. A bouncing shot in on Anderson. There's Erik Karlsson. 6 shots on the night for Karlsson as he leads them out. He'll send it in. MacArthur first man to it, and he whipped it wide. All the way around for Karlsson. Like a set play into the slot. Now Karlsson across. Turris. And on that, Legwand battles for it. And up with it, Brad Stewart. He's dumped, and that'll do it for the power play. 31 seconds in, and Mark Stone will head off for tripping.
Sometimes your mistake is one of effort, and Stone is trying to recover a loose puck. He ends up pulling down Brad Stewart. The puck is gone. He actually trips over the Colorado defender on the way out, and as he's diving for the puck, he ends up taking Stewart's feet out. So that'll drop this to 4-on-4 for the next 90 seconds.
Got the puck first, but that no longer matters. Still a tripping call. And the face-off back in the Ottawa zone. Duchesne to battle with Smith, who wins it for Ottawa. And Karlsson will head back in the right direction. Here's Karlsson with a bit of a burst and then rolling it through. Pickard couldn't reach it. That's Lazar battling for it. There's another vote of confidence as the kid is out 4-on-4. in a one-goal game in the third period.
They sat him out of the game in Florida and went to him before they sat him out and said, look, we want you to take a break here. It had nothing to do with his play.
Here's Duchesne. A shot handled by Anderson. Back comes Carlson.
Been a quiet night for Matt Duchesne, but he's had a couple of bursts up the wing for shots on goal. He doesn't need much room to create something for himself.
Neat play by Carlson to buy some time for a change. Now Bobby Ryan gets ridden into the boards on the near side. He has 4 shots in the game. Lazar, by the way, has 3. So 13 of 23 Ottawa shots by 3 players. Carlson, Ryan, and Lazar. Here comes Cody Ceci. Bobby Ryan again. Stop, shoots, scores! Bobby Ryan, first of the season, is a game tire.
Calvin Pickard's had a good night in goal for Colorado, but both goals he'd probably like back. The first one bounced over top of him. This one he has to stop. Played really well at the blue line. As Johnson chips the puck in, Ceci jumps on the loose puck and finds Bobby Ryan, who stops up and slides this to the net. It goes right through Pickard. But this play starts in the defensive zone. Good stand up at the line by Phillips that allows Ceci to come in behind him to pick up the loose puck. Ceci gets on his horse and opens up the ice for Bobby Ryan. His puck through the legs of Pickard. His first in the game is tied.
Paul McLean told us this morning he has to shoot more. Everybody has to shoot more, but in particular, number 6. And the 5th shot of the night is a tie goal. Turns in front, and Pickard may have got a piece of that. What a move to the front of the net for Kyle Turris. Now the Avalanche have the power play with Stone still late stages of his penalty. Erik Johnson moves ahead. He'll roll it down. Riva hits him. Comes back. Landeskog to Tyson Barrie. Ryan O'Reilly. Nathan MacKinnon. So dangerous tonight. Landeskog in front. Couldn't get a shot away. Cleared out. Senators back at full strength. Here's a giveaway picked off by Stone. Left wing feed. After it goes McCulloch. Holden had just got onto the ice off the Colorado bench. 8 ahead, and MacKinnon knocked down as he tried to gather speed, but Lazar closed quickly on him to deny that rush. Carlson nearly overskated it, but regains the handle. Swivels it to Lazar. Neatly ahead at center and flipped in by McCulloch. After it goes Zach Smith. Chopped away from him to the line. Kept in by Carlson. Knocked down in front. Holden can't clear. Curtis Lazar's got it. He'll play it to the point and fanned on. And now they're in retreat as Weirkosh lost it, but Carlson bails him out. Now John Mitchell steps up. Short-handed goal in the first period for Mitchell. He lost it and nearly away is Ryan. Bobby Ryan chases it down. Nate Gannon there calls him down. No call as the stick in between the legs of Ryan, which was enough for the fans to figure that a penalty was upcoming. Ryan again in, and he can't make the centering pass. It was broken up, and away goes Jamie McGinn. Got a man with him. McGinn in front, and that pass doesn't connect with a Gimlin. Ryan with a great move, and here he comes again. Got the fire wagon loaded up now. Chiasson and Zibanejad. Mika Zibanejad off the wall, still with the shot, and off the skate in front. Ryan's got it. And the Senators have momentum. Chiasson in behind the net. He's tied up there, but stays on it. Cycles it back the other way. Erik Johnson takes a look, plays it up the boards, knocked down by Borowiecki, and now it's tipped away, and it'll be stolen. Back comes Stone. Mark Stone in over the line. He centers, shot, scores! Clark MacArthur!
We've talked a lot about Curtis Lazar, the fine rookie for Ottawa, but here's another youngster, Mark Stone, who makes a fantastic play to turn this puck over. He could have hit Jarome Iginla, but he took the puck. So many players want to have it programmed into their head, body, body, body. Well, you can't score without the puck. Stone gets the puck, the play goes into the corner, and MacArthur gets right to the scoring spot. He had the game winner in Florida. He's put the Senators ahead with 8 minutes left here, and 2 quick ones. And the Senators in their home opener have regained the lead.
That had been a defenseman, Ray. They might have been a train wreck at center ice. Instead, Stone made the offensive play. And goals come 3:04 apart here in the third. And the Ottawa Senators have their first lead of the night. O'Reilly puts it in front and nearly redirected in front of the net.
Iginla had no idea that Stone was coming off the bench on a change. And it's amazing how many times that play is finished with a body. But Stone knew he had a line on the puck. He just took the puck off Iginla's stick, and it turned into the go-ahead goal.
What a turn of events here. 2 goals, 3 minutes, 4 seconds apart. Third period. And the Senators have the lead. Looking for a third consecutive win and a opening win at home to start this season. After going 18, 17, and 6 last year on home ice, certainly a priority to be better at home in 2014-15. Still some work to be done, 7 minutes to go. Brad Stewart knocked down by Ryan, who was inside the line. He'll have to tag up. Gannon goes back to get it. Now Talbot up in center. Flips it off the boards from Borfietsky's there, and now Chiasson. 2-on-2 with Ryan. They'll crisscross. Chiasson knocked off his stick by Erik Johnson. Chiasson gets it back. Tried to play the point. Didn't arrive there. And away goes Johnson. Cross ice it goes onto the far side. Tyson Barrie in front. Talbot ran over Anderson. Penalty coming up against the Avalanche. Borfietsky over to challenge Max Talbot, who ran into goaltender Craig Anderson, and will get a penalty. We'll find out if there's any further.
Bobby Ryan got off the schneid with his first goal of the season. He said to me at the break, "Can you believe the chances I've had the last 3 games?" And this is the one that goes in. This one is MacArthur's. It goes in off of Tyson Barrie. That gave the Senators the lead. And Bobby Ryan's goal that had tied the game, he slides it between the feet of Pickard.
So now the Senators look for some insurance. Legwand wins the battle, took a hit, but got it to the point. Carlson across, Kyle Turris returns it. MacArthur up high on the near side. It'll be down low and centered. There's MacArthur reaching for it. Carlson across to Turris to hold the zone. Now it deflects to Carlson and MacArthur. They play a little hot potato, but it's loose in front. MacArthur jam play and stopped by Pickard and knocked down in front of the net. David Legwand off the half boards. Carlson again returns it. Legwand has a goal tonight. Down low it goes. MacArthur another chance down low. Denied, and it will be cleared by Everberg. Here's Carlson flipping it down the ice. After it goes McCulloch. Erik Johnson there. An outlet for McLeod, and he'll dump it down the ice with 35 seconds remaining in the Talbot penalty. McCulloch heads to the attack, takes a return from Carlson. Unable to really control it there, and he'll go to the boards with Holden. Ryan trying to pry it out of there. Zibanejad knocked down. Ryan stays with it, off the boards, in front, shot, he whipped it high, and looks skyward. What a play by Ryan, and just missed. He's got it again. Sent it in front, that went off McCulloch. And Tanguay will dump it down the ice. Erik Karlsson an outlet. And Zach Smith back to the attack. Stewart got a piece of him. Lazar into the corner. Smith following up. Sends it back to Cody Ceci at the point. 4 minutes left in the third. Smith behind the net. Looking to center. Duchesne there for Colorado, but they can't clear it. It's Lazar in behind the net. The veteran Brad Stewart on him. To the point. Chiasson lets it go, and Zach Smith gonna hook it in front of the net. Again there, and he'll play it out. Chopped away and on a change. They nearly caught the Avalanche. Zach Smith's got it. Through for Chris Neil. Watched in behind the net by Holden. Stepping up is Condra. Team again stayed on it, can't clear it. Borowiecki plays it back in deep. It's the forechecking Paul McLean was looking for.
It is, and one of the things that'll help this out is he's been able to use his 4 lines most of the night. He's gone deep with his bench here. 3 minutes left, and he's used both his third and his fourth line here in the last couple of minutes.
Again against a team playing its third in 4 nights. 3 minutes left in the third.
Colorado has 1 shot in the last 9 minutes of play.
And remember, 5 shots in their third period. It's held by Pickard, 3 straight for Ottawa. Canadian Tire Senators Hockey on TSN is brought to you by Bell. Hockey just got better. By Molson, Canadian diehard fan and proud partner of the Ottawa Senators. And by Scotiabank, you're richer than you think. Scotiabank. Memorable opening night. Not done yet. 2:49 to go. Senators trying to win their third in a row, but a breakaway pass here, and Landeskog just offside. Well, it's time now for Marks on the Mark. And Curtis Lazar has been on the mark tonight.
A fabulous night of hockey. He's played just under 14 minutes. He's going to go over 14 minutes as he goes on the ice here. 3 shots, 3 hits. He's got an assist. His Corsi number tonight is the best of all skaters on the ice, and he'll be on the ice here and watch as the puck goes up the ice for Pickard in the Colorado net. He was already starting with 2:40 to leave the net. Remember how early Patrick Wall likes to pull the goaltender if need be.
Yeah, for Patrick, this is almost late. But he can't do it here. An icing call against the Avalanche.
As the puck went up on that previous offside, they were yelling at Pickard, and he was startled in the net.
He wasn't watching the playoffs in the regular season near the end last year. Patrick Wall was starting to do it with 4 minutes left in the third period of 1-goal games. Eric Johnson trying to stride out through center. Gets to the red line, but does not get over the blue line, and Pickard remains in the goal. McKinnon to the right wing, and they lose the handle, and it'll be flipped back out by Ceci down the ice. And still, the goaltender stays in. Zach Smith looked like he caught a piece of Pickard going through the crease there. Now Pickard's on the bench. The extra attacker is out. As the Avalanche push forward looking for the equalizer. Led 3-1, but it has evaporated here in the third period. Now they try to get back on even terms. Condra's on the ice. The puck flipped to center. Chris Neil looks for it there. And unable to get control of it. Eric Johnson chased back. David Legwand's out with 90 seconds to go. Now flipped to the line. That pass doesn't work for Iginla. And an open net. Chris Neil scores! It's an empty netter and a 3-goal third period for the Ottawa Senators.
Puck turned over in the middle of the ice. Legwand creates the turnover. The puck bounces to Chris Neil, and he slaps it into the empty net. And the difficult start to the season for Colorado continues. Man, these guys are going to wear out this door next to me here. They're just hammering it as they come into the into the Colorado bench as frustration boils over. They'll head to Montreal to close out this 4-game road trip on Saturday, but this has been a less than impressive start for the Colorado Avalanche this season.
Chris Neil with 2/3 of a Gordie Howe hat trick tonight. David Legwand gets an assist on the 5th goal, and we're into the final minute with an Ottawa 2-goal lead. Senators in the midst of a change as John Mitchell steps up, takes the shot, and Anderson will hold on. Tough start for Craig Anderson tonight, but he's now 45.3 seconds away from his first ever win over his former team.
The great trademark of a goaltender is when things don't go your way that you're able to slam the door shut. He gave up the 3 goals in the first period, one a minute and a half in, one a deflection by his own man, Chris Phillips, up over his shoulder. But since that time, he's been perfect in the Ottawa goal, and they've climbed their way back in. As you mentioned, Chris, with the 3 here in the 3rd period.
Had a 6.32 goals against average against the Avalanche coming in, and then 3 early tonight. Lazar back on the ice here in the final minute as the fans start to serenade their team. Here's McCulloch trying to swivel in front, centers it, and just missed Zach Smith. Of course, this being done against a kid that arrived at 5:15 to be pressed into duty in his first National Hockey League game. He looked good early, but the Senators get to him late. Maybe the countdown's on.
Maybe he ran out of gas too, Chris.
It'll be 3 consecutive wins for Ottawa. The home opener is in the books. Three straight in the 3rd. Bobby Ryan tied it. Clark MacArthur has his 2nd consecutive game-winning goal, and an empty netter to wrap it up for Chris Neil. Time for the Molson 3 stars of this home opener. And the first star, his first NHL point. We thought it might have been his first NHL goal, but Curtis Lazar, a complete game. Pair of assists for Nathan MacKinnon, the most dangerous Colorado Avalanche player on the night. And Bobby Ryan breaks through for his first goal, and it was a big one to ignite the 3rd period comeback for Ottawa. Final shots were 31-28 in favor of the Avalanche. Again, the final score here in the home opener tonight. Senators win it 5-3. So long from the Canadian Tire Center, Sports Center, and Darren Detition is now.